Mini skirt on, dip my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, dip my
Hello, hello, hello. You are now tuned in to the A Little Bit A Lot podcast. I'm your host, Kristen, and welcome back to another episode. This week, I'm so excited because I have a lovely guest. We've got Lily. Hey, girl.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good.
So happy to have
Very,
you on.
stuffed up on my nose, but otherwise good.
Yeah, so we were talking offline. Lily was saying she just is recovering from a cold, but you sound great. You sound great. Like better than
Thank
I
you.
would if I had like just been hanging on for dear life like 72 hours ago. I'm so happy to have you on. I'm so glad you reached out for us to collab again. If you guys didn't know, Lily is the host of Lily's Little Life Corner, and she has such a great podcast where she often like deep dives into different topics and pop culture and things like that. So be sure to check out her show. I'll make sure that I link everything in the description. But if you guys didn't know, we have previously collabed before because I was on her after show where we talked about Mayo Mom. And if you guys don't know, it was like this whole thing where this lady was like being weird towards her daughter and like hating on her cooking, even though her meals like looked absolutely delicious. And we both ended up making a video about it on both of our podcasts. And then she ended up inviting me on, and we just, dived like deeper into the topic together on your after show. So that was really fun. So I'm like, okay, we got to get Lily on my pod so we can talk and we can key. So happy that you're joining me. And I thought that it would be fun for us to react to Reddit stories. I was like, okay, I love that idea. Lily proposed it. I'm like, yes, let's get into it, because you guys know, if you listen to my show, regularly, you guys know that I have reacted to Reddit stories before. I think like twice now. So I'm like, it's time to run it up. The quarterly Reddit moment. Let's see what these people have to say, spilling their tea, and share our reactions and our thoughts. Of course, if you guys are watching this episode on YouTube, be sure to give this episode a like, comment down below to let me know what you think about today's stories, and subscribe. I'm like 140 subscribers away from hitting like my first 1K. So I would really appreciate if you guys subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We talk about pop culture, mental health, music, movie, TVs, you name it. You won't regret it if you hit that subscribe button. Spotify, Apple, rate that 5 stars, leave a review, and do the same thing for the Lily show as well. How are you feeling, Lily? Are you excited to get into this?
Yes, I am so excited.
Yes. We are also going to be filming a part 2 as well. So we are going to be reacting to Reddit stories on my channel, and then we're also going to be reacting to stories on Lily's channel. So I will be sure, like I said, to have everything in the description, so that way you guys can check out part 2. So we got some things in store for you guys. So buckle up, grab a snack, and get ready to listen to the drama. All right, so we've got our first story here. Some of these I took from the random, like, Am I the A-hole Reddit? But then some of them are also from this podcast called the Comfort Level Pod. Have you heard of that, Lily?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it comes up on my TikTok For You page sometimes.
Yeah, they're known for, like, primarily doing Am I the A-hole Reddit reading. And they have their own like subreddit. And I'm like, oh, let me see what's going on in there too. So shout out to their podcast. I listen to them every once in a while. It's really entertaining. So I was like, let me see what like their viewers have to say too. So just know ahead of time, guys, like some of these are mixed in. So the first one says, am I the for rushing to book my time off the second I realized my coworker was trying to take the same dates I told her about weeks ago? She said, I work on a really small team. There's like 6 of us total. And we all have to coordinate time off because if more than one person is out at the same time, the rest of us are completely screwed. There's no backup coverage. Nobody else is cross trained. It's just us. A couple months ago, I mentioned to my coworker that I was planning to take some time off in the spring, and I told her the exact weeks because we were chatting about it casually. And I wanted to give her a heads up since we have to coordinate. She said, cool, sounds good. And that was it. And I didn't think anything of it. Well, fast forward to last week, she's been out on extended leave and has been texting me for work updates, which is annoying, but whatever. During one of these check-ins, she casually mentions that she's thinking about taking off the same exact weeks I told her about, like almost word for word the dates I already shared with her. I sat there staring at my phone for a solid minute because I knew exactly what was happening. She heard my dates and then decided she wanted them too, and figured since she hadn't officially submitted anything yet, and neither had I, she could just swoop in. I immediately called my manager, explained the situation, got verbal approval on the spot, and submitted my request within the hour. It's locked in now. Done. She doesn't know yet because she's still out. But when she comes back and she sees that those dates are taken, she's going to lose it. And she's going to act like I stole them from her, even though I literally told her about them first and she pretended she didn't hear me. Part of me feels like I was sneaky about it, like I went behind her back. But she went behind mine first by trying to quietly claim the dates and she only knew about because I was being transparent with her. I was trying to be a good teammate by communicating early, and she used that information against me. I just wanted what I planned for first.
First of all, no, you're not the. It's also concerning to me that your workplace has you guys so understaffed and undertrained to the point where you have to like tell people in advance, hey, by the way, I'm going to take I want to take a vacation such and such date. So make sure you guys are not also planning on taking a vacation on that date, because none of you guys are cross-trained with each other's job. You guys don't have enough people to cover each shift. So that seems shady on the company's part. And then people are like, nobody wants to work anymore. It's like, no, nobody wants to hire anymore. In such a workplace, I feel like the OP, as soon as they got confirmation that they were going to go on vacation for spring, they should have immediately locked those dates down, especially because the workplace is so, like, what's the word, like,
fast-paced, like,
aggressive, fast-paced, yeah.
Yes.
So, and not like for anything other than to make sure that people are ready and people don't also book your dates, because then if you wait longer and say you didn't have this coworker that was trying to also get those dates, it's possible that another coworker, like not knowing at all about your vacation, booked those dates, and then suddenly you can't go on vacation because you have to stay because of how cutthroat, that's the word that I was looking for, how cutthroat your workplace is. So it's smart anyway to just like book them off in advance and tell your manager, hey, by the way, like I know this is 3 months, 6 months in advance, but I just want to let you know that in the spring I'm going to be taking such and such dates off.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, this person's not in the wrong here. And like you said, I think it's, concerning more so like on the jobs, and because you should not, that's just not a good way to have like your workplace like set up for your employees. Like, you should be encouraging them to be able to like willingly and freely use their PTO. So the fact that nobody is cross-trained is concerning. Like, you need to be able to have people to be able to be cross-trained or have hired backup just so people can be able to take vacations, because my job is similar. Like, there's only 3 of us in my team for multiple locations that we have to work, but we also have a external company that my company has hired where one person like comes on and like helps us to cover us like when we need to take time off. So there should be things like set in place for this. I just think that it's like so ghetto to be like, well, I guess I can't take off, the 17th through the 19th because Bradley is also taking it off. Like, there should not, like, you should be allowed to have multiple people out and it not be a big deal, and it should not affect like the workflow. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. So I'm like side-eyeing the company at that point, because that's kind of crazy to me, and like that's like really stressful and cuts into like, you know, people being able to do what they want when they want. So that's strange. And like you said, I do agree that this person probably should have like written down the time in advance, but also like, why would the coworker like be weird?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I get, you know, where she's coming from, but going forward, girly pop, these people aren't your friends, okay?
Mm-hmm.
As much as you want to think that your coworkers are your friends, sometimes they really aren't, and they really will low-key like be plotting against you. So you got to make sure that the second you think you're going to take time off, put that in the calendar, because that's what I do. Sometimes I think that I'm going to have a day off. I put it on the calendar before I even submit the official PTO request, just so it's there publicly. And like, there'll be times where like my manager will be like, hey, like, you have on the calendar that you have these days off, I don't see a request. And I'm like, oh, I just wanted to put it on there just in case, because you never know. Like, you gotta let these people know what's going on. So I think this is a good learning lesson for this author, to make sure that you're staying ahead of the game, keeping your plans to yourself, putting it on that calendar, putting in that request, and then God forbid, like, it ends up falling through, you can cancel a request. You can take it off if you're not going to do it anymore. But it's better to be safe than sorry. But like, shame on that coworker. Like, I think that's kind of weirdo behavior. Like,
for sure,
taking my words, my weak word, like word for word. And then on top of that, what's up with the whole like, they've been texting me while out on extended leave for updates?
Yeah.
Like,
like, if you're on extended leave, you're on extended leave. Like,
right.
I understand wanting to not, like, you know, when you come back, you don't want to be like, oh, like, what did I miss? But at the same time, it's like, you don't have to constantly, you know, if anything, at the beginning, you could have just been like, oh, hey, by the way, you know, I'm going to be on extended leave for a bit. Is there any way that you could send me just anything important? Just send it to me in a text, and then that way I am able to be up to date when I return.
Yeah, or even just an email. If it's really that serious, hey, could you keep notes of, you know, like you said, anything important over the next couple of days, weeks that I'm gone, and then, you know, email it to me. Start a Google Doc, and then every time it's updated, you can see it if it's really that serious. But also at the same time, like, that's like also, I think, an unhealthy attachment to work, because I would never give a single flying crap about what's going on with any of these people while I'm on paid time off. Like,
yeah,
the work is work problem. Vacation is vacation. So I don't really care what I miss. I will then learn and deal with that and check my emails when I get back. Like, that's so crazy to me to be like, try to be that tapped into where even on your PTO, you want to know what's going on, instead of just being like, hey y'all, what I miss? And then like finding out when you get back. Like, what's that about?
Yeah, especially since extended leave typically, well, what I'm picturing when I hear extended leave, I'm picturing like medical leave. Like, something happened where it's not necessarily a vacation, but where you had to take that leave. And that's why, because, you know, OP mentioned, like, we were so understaffed that we're struggling whenever somebody leaves. So I'm thinking, well, this extended leave must have been necessary. Like, I think it's called family something leave.
FMLA.
Yeah, FMLA. I was going to say FEMA, but I was like, that's not right. But yeah, that's the law where employers are required by law to let you have that leave and let you still come back to the job. So it's anything like pregnancy, you know, giving birth, a family member dying, anything like that, or you got diagnosed with cancer or something and you need to take that extended leave and go get chemotherapy, physical therapy, whatever it may be, and then you're able to come back to the job in exactly the same position, exactly the same everything. So it's like, yeah, it sounds like OP's coworker was not having, like you said, that healthy attachment with work and having to still be like, okay, I know I'm technically supposed to be elsewhere, but can you keep me updated? Like anything small or big, let me know. And whereas I would have just been like, okay, I'm too stressed. When I come back, I'm going to figure everything out.
Yeah. Keeping up with everything that you miss when you come back from more than one day off sometimes can be a lot, especially like with my position and my previous positions I've had before. Like, we're very like email heavy. So you come back, you got like 50 emails that you got to go through. But like, it's comes with the territory. It is what it is. You got to just do it. So to be so inconsiderate, to bother your coworkers, to be like, text me, is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. So I would say a message to the OP as well. Not only are you learning your lesson of making sure that you're keeping those lips tight, secrets to yourself, and just doing what you need to do with keeping your time off to yourself between you and your manager, and putting it on there as soon as you have an inkling that you're going to take time off right away. Also, setting better boundaries with your coworkers might be something that would be beneficial for you as well, because I know it's tough and it's awkward, you know, if that person was like, hey, text me, and you're like, okay, and like she said, it didn't really sound like she wanted to, but sometimes you just gotta say, no, I can't do that. And if you need help with figuring out how to word it, ask somebody that you trust, hey, could you help me figure out, you know, how do I draft this text to let her know I'm not doing that? Because no way would I be in a position where I'm the one texting my coworker updates while they're gone. Hegs nah. Like, I already have enough to worry about as it is. Like she said, with having 6, and I have a team of 3. That's even less. I'm not about to do that. I have work to do. I don't have time to take time out of my day to text you updates while you're on extended leave. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it sounds like every single coworker is doing their own thing. So it's like it almost sounds like OP is going around to every coworker like, "Hey, what did you do today? Hey, what did you do today?" Because it doesn't sound like they have much interaction with each other from what they said, that they weren't cross-trained. So that to me lets me know that not only are they like do their fields or whatever like positions they're in, they don't have much overlap, but also because they're not like interacting as much, they also don't have basic knowledge of every position and what every position has to do.
Right. And that's like something that's gonna be bad, like detrimental to the entire like job in the long run, because when everyone doesn't know what the other department, that person's doing, sometimes that overlap can clash, and then it's just like, listen, we gotta figure this out. So yeah, long story short, given everything, you're not in the wrong, but you could use to come up with some boundaries with your coworkers, and just be sure going forward you put that time in and keep your time in and off to yourself. That's always the best thing. Or if you want to share after you put it on the
yeah.
And then be like, I just put in a request for June and I'm so excited for my vacation, because then there's nothing they can say because it's already there. Okay, that was a really good one. Let's move on to the next story. Let's see. Okay, this one says, am I the for cutting my family off? Oh, and they're saying their name. Hi, my name is Mike. Okay. Shout out to Mike. For some background, Mike. Yes, I came from a traditional Asian household, Mongolian. And for those who aren't familiar, that means you're expected to do everything that your parents tell you. Otherwise, it's considered a sin or the wrong way to live. All right, already starting off, this is like, ooh, because when it comes to families like this, it gets really crazy and toxic fast. Mike says, I'm 29 and I have a sister who is 36. We grew up 7 years apart, so we are very different in every way. She's the golden child. She listened to everything my parents told her to do, went to college right after high school, and married her first boyfriend, who is now her husband, and still talks to my parents every day. Growing up, it was clear that I wasn't the favorite. I always got hand-me-downs, and any special achievements, celebrations, or gifts for me just felt like afterthoughts or last-minute efforts. I could go on forever about my childhood, but I'll save that for later. Update if people want more context. My parents live back home while my sister and I live in the US. They visit every couple of years for about 1 to 2 months during the winter because winters back home are brutal. And during their last 2 visits over the past 4 years, they basically avoided my birthday. 4 years ago, they left the day before my birthday. I didn't care much. I've been hurt so many times that I wasn't surprised. This year, however, they planned their trip to stay an extra week past my birthday and told me they wanted to celebrate together since they hadn't been able to in a couple of years. That actually got me excited because it would have been the first time in years. About 5 days before my birthday, they casually told me in the kitchen while we were making dinner that they would no longer be here and were flying back in 2 days for quote unquote work stuff. I was so shocked that I didn't even react. I also didn't want to make a scene. My wife and I, along with our 2 kids, ate as quickly as possible and we left that night. After they flew out, I stopped talking to them. Since then, I've been called a dishonorable and every other name you could think of. For more background, I haven't asked my parents for anything since I was about 15 or 16 when I started working because I didn't want them to have control over me like they do with my sister. My wife is not Asian and not from my country, which is considered my first quote unquote dishonor. I didn't go to college. I smoke and drink. I like to party, and I didn't become the lawyer or doctor that they envisioned. That said, I provide for my family of 4, and I do my best to be present in my kids' lives while hustling to make ends meet. Work has been hard to find because the immigration system is extremely backed up, and my interview for my documents keeps getting pushed back. So, am I the for cutting off my family? I honestly feel much better not having to deal with them or pretend I want a relationship that causes me constant pain. My wife says that I should do whatever makes me happy and that she'll support me no matter what. And honestly, shout out to my wife. She and her family opened up my eyes to what loving, supportive parents actually look like. They taught me what real love and care for your kids feels like. My wife has told me that when I get really drunk, I apparently hug her parents and ask why couldn't have I had them as my own. I have no recollection of this. I've been trying to get therapy, but it's expensive and I don't have insurance, and I'm still looking for affordable options. And once I find one, I plan to start therapy. All right, Lily, take it away on your thoughts.
So, first of all, not the I think it's very difficult when the parenting style of your parents is tied to culture, or they have that excuse of, well, this is how parents are supposed to be, this is how children are supposed to be according to our culture, because then it makes it really difficult also to not associate your culture with the way that your parents treated you. And so that can make it so that you feel like there's a disconnect between a big part of your identity and yourself. So I'm glad that OP has that support system of, his wife and his in-laws. That was so cute of how he said, apparently when I'm drunk, I hug my in-laws and ask, why couldn't you be my parents? Like, that just shows that his in-laws are very much so there for him in a way that his parents could never be. And also, like, it does where I was going with my point about the culture is when you do like kind of feel like you're removing yourself from your culture, you do feel like it's wrong. Like, yeah. You're like, oh, I've removed myself from my parents, and that feels like I'm removing myself from my culture, and this feels wrong. So that could be why he's asking, like, am I the for doing this, when even he himself said, like, I feel so much better. So it's clear that for him and his mental health and for his family, he wasn't doing anything wrong, but it can still feel like he's doing something wrong because of how that detachment process works. And one last thing I wanted to say, if I can remember, about the birthday. He was saying, like, 1 year they left the day before his birthday, and he was like, that didn't really hurt me, like, I'm used to it or whatever. But then it's clear that it did hurt him, because when they said, like, oh, we're gonna stay for your birthday, we're gonna stay a week after your birthday just to make sure that we're able to celebrate your birthday, he was so excited. And, like, naturally, so my advice for the OP would be to not feel ashamed and to not try to suppress those feelings of hurt when your parents do show, or when your parents have shown favoritism towards your sister, because those are very natural feelings to have. It's very natural for you to want your parents to pay attention to you and to, you know, put in the same effort that they're putting in with your siblings. So it's nothing to be ashamed about.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just had such great reactions to this that are just aligned with exactly with mine. I think that I didn't. Yeah, this story's like a lot deeper than I thought this was gonna be, and I think it personally hits home for me because on my podcast in the past, I've talked about the fact that I'm like no contact with my grandmother, and I kind of relate similarly where no matter what culture you're from, I think every culture has like their own set of like toxic ways that they're set in. So it's the same thing with my family. Like I think, you know, with Black culture, you know, not just agreeing with every single thing, ignorant thing that your ancestors and elders say is like looked at as being disrespectful. But it's like in my situation, I feel like once again I was alienated because I wasn't a favorite. Similarly with Mike, and then like you said, I think that I've struggled with those same feelings of, oh well, I don't care, and then you tell yourself you don't care, but I think that there is power in being like, no, like I do care, and this does hurt my feelings, and I'm actually very sick about the fact that they're treating me like this because I feel like I don't deserve this. And I think the more you like stop fighting against like the fact that you care, the more it can like help your like, you know, journey with healing going forward, because that was something that like I struggled with too. And I'm like, no, like I do wish, you know, and do mourn like the relationship with my grandmother that I wish I had, and that I think I do deserve. And then that can like I said, help you, you know, going forward. So definitely relate to those feelings, but running away from them, I think just like only makes all of it harder to deal with. And I just think it's like so weird, you know, of the parents to be like, yeah, we're gonna stay, and then not like, okay, is this like intentional? Because me, I'm always paranoid. I'm like, are you actually trying to like end me or what? Because like, what do you mean y'all said you were gonna and then you don't? Like, that's strange.
Yeah, it definitely feels intentional, especially since they didn't seem to give OP a reason. They weren't like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like, we have to go, there's an emergency back home, like, I'm so sorry, I wish we could stay to celebrate your birthday. They were just like, yeah, like, okay, bye.
Yeah, that's just really messed up. And like, you would think that they would want to try harder to like also spend their time with the fact that OP has like 2 kids, so you're grandparents. But you're telling me you don't want to be around your grandkids. But of course, that probably has to do with like the fact that they don't like the fact that his wife is not from their culture. That's a whole nother thing that I think that is contributing to this divide as well. And that sucks because I don't know that feeling, but I know it probably sucks. Like when there's a cultural divide with your partner not being like the same like race or ethnicity as you. So that really sucks. But I am glad that they have such a supportive wife. Because in situations like this, same like with my boyfriend, like I don't know what I would do in my situation, like navigating like the grief of what I wish I had if I didn't have like a partner to let me know, like constantly reassure me and say, hey, you're worthy, like, you know, you didn't ask for this, it's fine. So having that support seems really sweet and really nice. I'm glad that the wife is like validating his feelings and saying, do whatever makes you happy and I'm going to support you no matter what. That's awesome. And it's even better that he has an example similarly in my situation where the in-laws are awesome. Like I said, I don't have a great relationship with my grandma, but then my boyfriend's grandma is so sweet, so nice. And then like for the longest time I was like, this is too good to be true, like you guys are like out to get me, right? But I'm still learning to this day, like, no, like they do actually like me, like they're not talking about me behind my back, like it's fine. So that is such like just, it feels so good when you're in that situation, because at the same time you're like, even though my situation sucks, I have a supportive partner and I have a supportive in-laws. So it's like, honestly, I know, to Mike, it hurts, but in the long run, leaning on your partner, and leaning on your partner's in laws, it will help you in the long run, and those feelings will get easier to deal with. I'm not saying that it's always gonna be easy, but things will get better. And I think that they're in the right for deciding to cut them off if they feel like I said, being around people that are constantly bringing you pain, that's just not good. That's not good for your mental health. It's not good for you. And then, like, what kind of message are you setting for your children to say, oh, you got to be around these unpleasant people because they're family? Like, no. Like, if I don't want to be around them, then you're gonna see that you don't have to be around them either.
I do wonder, though, who is the one that's sending him those messages? Because if he's cut off, because he said, I stopped talking to my parents, so I'm wondering if that means, like, he just stopped responding to their messages, or if he blocked them, and if his sister has anything to do with the messages that he's receiving of, like, you're so ungrateful, you're this, you're that, or if, like, what his sister's stance on that is, because much wasn't said about whether the sister, because the sister is the golden child, but sometimes the golden child is not necessarily the golden child because they're going along with whatever the parents are saying. They're just, like, who the parent ended up favoring, and oftentimes, or sometimes, I should say, the golden child will be that kind of supportive person for the black sheep sibling. So I'm wondering kind of where the sister stands on that, and whether she is, like, adding on to the messages that his family is sending him, or whether she's trying to, like, tell her family, like, guys, he has every right to cut you off, or whether she's just, like, neutral about it and she's just like, I really don't care, like, this is none of my business. Like, I wonder where she stands in all of this.
Yeah, that's a big thing to consider too, because having, like, that someone that's still on the inside, it kind of hurts, because then you're like, okay, well, like, you're still communicating with the ops, right? And ops being our parents. So then it's like, like you said, is she advocating for him, or is she, like, entertaining the nonsense? Because that gets kind of tricky, even in my situation. Like, I don't talk to my grandmother, but obviously my mom still does, because, like, that's her mom. And so sometimes I still do hear messages where they're like, oh, I just was hoping one day Kristen will call. And it's like, well, don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. So then I know that can be frustrating when you have someone that's still talking to them, and then they're, like, telling you what they're saying. And it's like, I had to set a boundary in that situation to be like, don't tell me nothing else these people got to say. Okay. Because I chose to maintain my relationship with you, but not them. So we're going to continue to have our relationship. Then we need to set some boundaries on, what you're telling me that they're saying, because that's just only going to continue to keep negatively affecting my mental health. So I would also recommend that to anybody who's going through this, or like Mike, in the situation too, because depending on what the situation is, he may or may not have to set boundaries with his sister if he's going to still continue to, like, at least have her in his life, to be like, okay, even though we're, still in communication, don't tell me anything that mom and dad are talking about. Because hearing those messages of, oh, you're dishonorable, every other name, it's like, that's not gonna benefit me. So overall, once again, not in the wrong here. All right, we got another story here. All right, it says, would I be the if I stopped going to my boyfriend's friend hangouts because his ex keeps, quote unquote, checking in on him? Ooh. I'm 29, female. My boyfriend is 31, male. We've been together for a little over a year. He has a tight friend group from college that still does weekly stuff, trivia nights, hiking, random movie marathons, that kind of thing. And I'm not a you can't have female friends kind of person, and I've never asked him to cut anyone off. The issue is one specific person, Kara, 30, female. Kara is his ex. They've dated for about 2 years in their mid-20s, and they broke up years ago. And he swears it was mutual and drama-free. She's still fully in the group, which I can understand because they're all connected. And when I first met everyone, she was friendly in that slightly too polished way. like always smiling, but still kind of watching my face to see if I react. But I told myself that I was projecting. Over the last few months, it started to feel more pointed. She checks in on him constantly in group settings. If he looks tired, she asks if he's sleeping okay, like she's his nurse. And if he mentions a rough week, she immediately goes, "Are you taking care of yourself though? You can always talk to me." And then one time I made a joke about him forgetting to eat lunch, and she said, "He did that when we were together too," and looked right at me and went, "You'll learn." And I laughed it off because it felt gross. She also keeps sending him private messages after hangouts like, "You seemed off tonight, just making sure you're okay." And he showed me one because he thought it was kind of weird. And she literally wrote, "I know I'm not your girlfriend anymore, but I still worry." And then he replied with a polite, "All good, thanks." I asked if he could maybe set a boundary, like, "Hey, please don't do that." And he said that it would make things awkward and she's just anxious and overly caring. The turning point was last weekend. We were at trivia and he got up to take a call from his sister. His sister is going through a messy divorce and he'd been quite stressed about it. So when he came back, I asked quietly if everything was okay. Before he could answer, Kara leaned across the table and said, "If you need to step out, do it. Don't be a hero. Remember what happened last time you tried to hold it all in." I had no idea what she meant, and my boyfriend got really stiff and said, "Not now." Later in the car, I asked about what last time was, and he admitted that after their breakup, he had a short depression spiral, and Kara was around a lot. I'm not mad that he had a hard time. I'm just mad that she used it like a little secret weapon to remind him that she knows him better. Now, I don't want to go to these hangouts anymore. I'm not asking him to stop seeing his friends, but I want to step back, and I also want him to stop entertaining these weird caretaking texts. He thinks I'm overreacting and says that Kara would never do anything and she's just socially clumsy and that I'm reading that as a threat. Would I be the if I stop going and I tell him I'm not comfortable being around her until he actually sets a boundary?
No. What's interesting to me and the thing that caught my attention the most was how the boyfriend clearly feels uncomfortable. He feels some type of way. Kira, is it right?
Yeah, Kara.
Oh, Kara. Okay. Yeah, whenever Kara, especially when she sent that message of whatever that was, like, "I just want to make sure you're okay," and he sends like, "All good, thanks." Like, clearly he knows that something is up, and I'm wondering if it's his like hesitation or his like denial of the situation is because Kara is so attached to the friend group that he doesn't want to lose the friend group. So then he's putting up with whatever Kara is doing, and he's telling OP like, "No, it's fine. Like, she's just socially clumsy." But it sounds like at like face value, it sounds like he's trying to convince her, but I'm wondering if he's trying to convince himself that it's like, no, Kara's just socially clumsy, like everything's fine, she doesn't mean anything by this, not because he's trying to hide something from OP, but because he doesn't want to lose the friend group that Kara comes attached to.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, when you're 31 years old and you're in a relationship, you don't have any excuses at that point. You're an adult, you're grown, and it's time to buckle up and unfortunately realize that, hey, I got to do what I got to do to be, a responsible adult. If I'm saying I'm in a committed relationship and my partner is literally telling me that they're uncomfortable with something, and I know deep down inside, like you said, that I'm uncomfortable, you need to set that boundary. And like you said, it may seem like he doesn't want to lose his friend group, but unfortunately, it is what it is. Like, you sacrificing your comfortability for the sake of still having a friend group is not going to be worth it in the long run, especially for you or your partner. So I think saying something would benefit, all parties involved. And I think that Kara is a sneaky little tink. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she is overstepping on several accounts. I don't think that the OP is being delusional. I don't think that she's, gagging anything, not one bit, because every single one of these, like, examples that she's given personally would piss me off. Like, that would personally piss me off because in my relationship, Me and my boyfriend have been together for like, I don't know, 12 years at this point, and I'm the same way. I'm not gonna say, oh, you can't have female friends, but act like you've been here before, sister.
Yeah.
Keep it cute. You know what I mean? And nothing about what she's doing is keeping it cute. The whole, oh, trust me. Yeah, he was like that when we were in a relationship. You'll learn. Oh, did you just say you want to fight?
You'll learn. The face that I made when I heard that, I was like, ew, that's crazy to say.
No, heavy on you. Ew. Like, that's grody, sister. Like, I thought you said, I want to fight. Like, I thought that's the words I heard coming out of your mouth, because if we want to swing, then, like, maybe we can swing. Because that's fighting words. In my opinion, that's, oh, I'm ready to battle. I thought you were saying you wanted to duke it out. Because why else would you fix your lips to say that to me? Like, she 100% knows what she's doing. You'll learn. Oh my God. And then don't be a hero. Okay, right. This is just triggering, honestly.
That comment of like, you're not a hero, it's okay if you need to step out. It feels like she was trying to trigger OP by saying that, but she also triggered the boyfriend. So it's like, at this point, it's not a thing of like, of Kara trying to be like, I was the better girlfriend, like I'm better at taking care of OP's boyfriend than she is. It's a thing of like insecurity and like trying to make herself feel better at the expense of the person who she's trying to portray that she cares about. Because even like the previous comments, it's like all trying to portray like, no, it's not anything towards you, OP, it's just that I care about him because he's my friend. But with that comment, it's clear that she doesn't care about him as a friend. She just cares about him as almost like a status symbol, to be like, yeah, I was the better girlfriend. Like, it feels a little bit like pick me behavior. Yeah, because you know, OP's like this other woman that got introduced to the friend group, so maybe Kara's like, I need to make sure that OP understands that I'm the better woman in the group and I'm the one that they will be loyal to. So she keeps trying to say those reminders, not to make OP's boyfriend feel better and to make him feel like she cares about him, but to make OP realize like, I'm the better one in every sense of the word. I was the better girlfriend, I'm the better friend, and they will be loyal to me, not to you, because you're the newbie. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, she's deliberately trying to isolate and alienate this girl, and that's sick and twisted behavior. And then, like you said, if you're trying to be like, oh, I'm Kara, I'm a good friend, then why are you purposely trying to make your quote-unquote friend feel awkward? Like, there's no way that Kara does not realize that the things that she's doing is making him feel uncomfortable. Like she said, oh, he's visibly getting stiff. He's saying, oh, not now. Like, he's dismissing you in every single way. Like, there's just no way that I don't think that you're not able to pick on social cues. So it's like, at this point, she's trying, it just seems like, from what we can tell, that she's giving so pick me and so like, I'm trying to hype up my own insecurities, that I'm willing to not only make my current friend and ex-boyfriend uncomfortable, but his new girl as well. So at this point, everybody's suffering from my own personal vendetta. Because it's like, girl, it's not eating the way you think it's eating. Like, if you think that this is going to get him back or in your good graces, it's literally doing the opposite. And I don't understand how you're not picking up on that vibe. Like, that's extremely weird. And like, I think that in this situation, she would not be wrong for distancing herself from this friend group. Like, that's so concerning. I look, you wonder what the other friends think too. Like, are y'all picking up on these vibes or what?
Yeah. Well, and also because OP's boyfriend is trying to give Kara the benefit of the doubt, but even if, like, with the benefit of the doubt, let's pretend like Kara is just socially awkward, you know, she doesn't really know how she's coming across. Let's pretend there's no reason why OP's boyfriend can't just like pull her aside and be like, hey, I know you mean well, but can these comments just like stop for a little bit? They're making me a little bit uncomfortable. Like, it's nothing to do with my girlfriend. It's just, it's me personally. I feel uncomfortable with the comments that you're making. So is there any way that it could just stop for a little bit? Like, or maybe like rephrase some of the things that you're saying? Because I don't know if you're trying to hurt my girlfriend, but you're actually hurting me, and I just don't feel comfortable with that, those comments that you're making. So is there any way that, like, no hard feelings, just, you know, just letting you know it's hurting me, and I know you don't mean to hurt me, but that's how it's coming across.
Right. I think that's exactly how the dialogue of the conversation should go. So I think that his excuses are kind of giving baloney, because you're telling me that you're not willing to say those exact words for the sake of, oh, well, it's going to be awkward. At the end of the day, if this girl is actually your real friend and she's hanging with the gang and she's one of the Brodies, then you should be okay with having this conversation. Your friends, if they're really your friends, should always make you feel comfortable with having whatever kind of conversation you need to have with them. And if that's not the gag, then those aren't your friends. You know what I mean? Because real friends should make you feel like you have a safe space to address whatever it is that you need to address. And honestly, real friends would never put you in this situation in the first place. Let's start there. But now that we're here, you need to be able to talk, speak up, stand up, and do what you need to do. So she's kind of a chop, honestly. Like, I can't believe she has so much audacity to be on the type of time that she's on. But, you know, if I were this, you know, the OP, I'd be like, am I going crazy or what? I would feel the same way. Like, okay, is he trying to, you know, like, girl boss, gatekeep, gaslight? Like, what? Like, no, a conversation needs to be had. So yeah, totally not the a-hole.
Or even the OP could go up to Kara herself and just be like, hey, so my boyfriend really didn't want to tell you anything because he doesn't want to make things awkward between you guys, but some of the comments that you've been saying just have been really hurting him, and so if I know, you know, we're not friends, and I'm not telling you to do this because of me, I'm telling you to do this because of him, and I know you care for him a lot. Is there any way that you could just slow down on your comments? Because especially that night at trivia, that comment really hurt him, and yeah, so I'm just, you know, worried about him. You know, his sister is going through a really hard time, and it's stressing him out as well. I just want him to be, like, the most level-headed that he can be, the most stress-free that he can be. So is there any way that we could come together and work on this solution for him? It's and then maybe also that can help OP's boyfriend, like, relieve himself of some of that burden of, like, Kara's making me really uncomfortable, but I don't want to, like, address it, because then it's gonna feel like I'm attacking the friend group, or it's gonna feel like I'm gonna lose the friend group, right? If that is, in fact, why he isn't addressing it. Maybe there's another reason why he isn't addressing it, but, you know.
Right. I don't want to go, like, left and be like, oh, something's going on between him and Kara. You know, I don't want to start suspecting at that point. But, yeah. But it's like, it's just a shame. Like, because OP shouldn't even have to be the one to have that conversation. This is your friend group, your ex. You be the one to address it. And it's like, I don't know. And it's like, I don't want to age shame either, because I feel like no matter what age you are, like, dealing with confrontation, sometimes you're just not a confrontational person. Sometimes, you know, setting boundaries is just hard for people. But unfortunately, this just has to happen. Moving on to the last story. Okay, it says, am I the for booking a hotel after my family twin bedded my wife and I? Okay. It says, my wife and I, both women, have been together for 6 years and married for 2. My family lives in the South and has struggled with my marriage. In fact, they refused to even meet my wife for years, and she has only met them once. We moved over 24 hours away for this very reason, and it has been really good for us to have distance from them. My younger sister is graduating from boot camp, so we planned a trip to attend the ceremony and a family day. When I reached out to my mom to ask who I should pay for our share of the lodging, she told me, actually, you and your wife will be in separate twin beds in your grandparents' cabin. For context, the rest of the family, my parents, my brothers, their wives, and all the kids, are staying in a large Airbnb together. We were then told that we will be put in a separate cabin because my brother feels uncomfortable with us being in the same house. And the family decided that they didn't want us sharing a bed. My wife's feelings are obviously hurt and she no longer feels welcome, so she's not attending at all. She will be out of state with her own family. And since I still want to be there for my sister, I took matters into my own hands and booked a hotel room on the other side of town for only myself. Now they say I'm wasting my grandparents' money by not using the twin beds and claim that everyone really wants her there. The wife. They think I'm being dramatic, but I feel like I'm just protecting my marriage from being treated like a shameful secret. Am I the for booking a hotel?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
Nope.
not.
It's very clear what this is, and even though they say like no, like we really want her there, it's possible that they do want her there, but also the brother, like this all started because the brother said like I'm just uncomfortable with her being there, so they booked, like they put them in a separate house. The whole family has an Airbnb to themselves. OP and her wife are going to be staying in a separate cabin and separate bedrooms at that. So it's like they're already at a separate cabin. Why do they need separate bedrooms?
Right.
Like,
no, I think it's one room, but with twin bed in it. Your wife will be staying with separate twin beds.
Okay.
Which is like, why do you, not only do we not want you to be here, but the place that you're going to be at, we don't even like the idea of you even being in the same bed.
Right? Like, I'm already at a separate place. Like, just let me, like, sleep in the same bed with my wife. And it's interesting because the brothers and their wives, they get to sleep in the same bed, but OP and her wife, they don't get to sleep in the same bed. Like, it's very clear this is homophobia, like cut and dry homophobia. Like, they do not want that in their house, as the homophobics say, or whatever it is that they say. Like, I'm okay with gay people as long as they don't shove it in my face. Right? And that's essentially what they're saying.
As if them being in the same bed at a separate house would be shoving it in their face is crazy to me. Oh my God. And then on top of that, the fact that she is doing what she's doing with her money, and they say, well, now you're wasting your grandparents' money. It's like even more sicko mode. Like, why would you say that? Like, okay. Like, well, then can't they just cancel if it's like a cabin that they're paying for? Then you don't got to pay for the cabin. Forget it. I'm getting my own. Unless they can get a refund.
So I'm not familiar with cabins, but isn't the purpose of the cabin, if it's your grandparents' cabin, doesn't that mean that they own it outright? So it's not even like the grandparents are wasting money, because it's like, money for what? Do you not, or unless like this is a rented cabin perhaps, but then like you said, they can just cancel it and like no money wasted, right?
The only thing that I could possibly think of is if it's they can't get like a refund or there's no cancellations or something like that, like paid up front. But even then, to like put that then like guilt and responsibility on the OP is kind of crazy to me. But this is like typical Southern homophobic manipulative tactics that we're talking about here, because to be like, well, now you're wasting the money, it's like, girl, please get out my face right now. Like, that is sick. And it's like, for the brother to be like, it's not even the mom or the dad that said it, it's the brother saying, I don't feel comfortable with him.
Yeah, that's what surprised me, because you would think it would be the older generation that would put up like the biggest fight. I almost wonder how, like, what percentage of the family that was not wanting to meet OP's wife, how much of that was the brother kind of influencing that, or if it truly was the entire family, because obviously OP's brother didn't learn this behavior from nowhere. He had to have learned it from somewhere, and he had to have had those examples shown to him. So obviously the family does feel some type of way towards OP and her wife and their marriage, but the fact that it was the brother who first was like, I don't want them near me. It's like, I wonder if he contributed to them not meeting OP's wife sooner, or if it was just like the family kind of using him as a scapegoat, or like him being like, I don't want to say the quiet part out loud, but I know we're all thinking it, and the whole family being like, yeah, we're all thinking it, we don't want them here.
Right. Ugh, that is just so awful. First of all, I'm just sorry to this author, really all of the authors today. They have to like even deal with this circumstance, because dealing with the homophobia of it all, like you said, is just really, really sick. And I rarely do you see a situation where like the brother is the op in this way. Like, I cannot believe it's the brother that's on this type of time. But like you said, it could be like exactly what you said. Like, well, I just said the hard part out loud and everybody agreed. But trying to even like say, all right, separate house, separate bed, and then getting mad when that person is like, no, I'll just get my own place, is like kind of weird. Like, you're trying to control them so much to the point that you don't even want them to even use their own money to pay for their own like stay. Is crazy. But kudos to the wife for saying, I'm not gonna go anymore. First of all, because like, you know, love you down, you're my wife, and, you know, congrats to your sister, but I ain't in it. Like, that was a good move to make, because if I were the wife, I wouldn't want to go anymore either. Like, all right, well, this is your family. Good luck.
Yeah.
It's like, I know some may say like, oh, well, that's your wife, you should still stick through, but no. Do what you
Not with
do
a family
you.
like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So no, they're not the for booking a hotel. Do what you got to do to keep the peace. And at the end of the day, you know, it's your sister, and if she's worth, you know, going through this for, then you get that hotel. You show off your sis, give her tens, and then you go back home. That was really interesting. It's always so interesting to like get a glimpse into other people's lives, and then sometimes you're like, you know what, it makes you feel more thankful for, you know, all of the good things in your life, because you're like, it could be worse.
Yeah.
But it's like, kudos to everybody who like has the, you know, courage to like put their situations out there, even if it's anonymously. It's a lot to be like, hey guys, what y'all think? So that's all I got. What did you think about today's stories, Lily?
They were really interesting, and I was able to relate to them, or to most of them at least, especially like the coworker situation, like, and what you said, like, your coworkers are not your friends. I had to learn that the hard way. So
Same.
it definitely is like, I can relate to this. Yeah.
Having boundaries with your coworkers is something that sometimes a lot of people do learn the hard way. And as much as you want to be like, oh, like, corporations will always be like, we're a family. Unfortunately, especially when you're non-white, those people are not your family. Like, at the end of the day, on a surface level, on a coworker level, yeah, you can you can go out, you know, after work or for drinks and lunch and, you know, work events. But you just got to keep it as that. Like, those people genuinely need to, like, stay an associate. Seriously. So that, if that can save anybody, you know, any mental turmoil, listen to our advice. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me, Lily. I had so much fun today going over these stories. And like I said in the beginning, if you guys want to listen to part 2, then make sure that you listen to Lily's podcast, because we will be over there reacting to stories on her show as well. And everything will be in the description. But in the meantime, let them know where they can find you.
I have my show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And then I'm trying to post more like podcast clips on TikTok, because that's actually how I found your Mayo Mom episode. And I told you before, like, you're the reason that you're who inspired me to start my own podcast. Because at first, when I was watching Mayo Mom, I was like, I feel like I can explain why she's doing this, and I feel like it's too long for a TikTok, and people are not going to stay and watch on TikTok. I wish I could transfer this into like podcast format. But then I was like, oh, but nobody's doing that. Like, nobody's taking TikTok stuff and turning it into a podcast episode. And then I saw your podcast episode, and I was like, this does have an audience. Like, this does have like somewhere to put this. So that's why I even started my own podcast, is because I saw your TikTok, and that was the thing that inspired me to start my own TikTok. So yeah, I'm definitely glad that we were able to collab again, and this time you get to be on the main show.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait. So be sure to tune in, guys. Yeah, I just really love Lily's show, and it's just such like a crazy moment. Like, the fact that I haven't been podcasting that long, but didn't have like a mutual like you, who I just like love and respect so much, to be like, hey, like, you were the reason why, you know, I was like, okay, I can start a show, because it really is that simple. Like, this is a short life. You can do what you want. And I felt the same way. Like, I will take multiple different little TikTok situations that I see and then make a full episode about it. Like, it does not matter how little the situation is. Like, hey, bring it to the platform and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's just crazy. We were saying offline, like, how well our Mayo Mom episodes, like, did, like, on both of our channels. But I think you had some great thoughts. I have some great thoughts on it. And I think, doing deep dives like that, like, it's important for, lots of people to feel, like, less alone if they're, like, dealing with situations that are similar. But yeah, so love it. Like I said, thank you so much for coming on. Be sure to check out Lily's show. And like I said at the beginning, on YouTube for both of our channels, like, comment down below, subscribe, rate that 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Cause I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya.